Let's talk about some of these issues on the security situation. Joining me tonight, Governor Abdullahi Sule, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State. He joins us from Lafia in Nasarawa State. Thank you, Your Excellency, for joining us tonight on the program. Let's begin the conversation by getting your view on the statement coming from the office of the NSA that a decisive action will be taken to end the assault. There appears to be palpable fear across the land, and many are worried about the continued attacks, rightfully so. But for those who question the capacity and ability of the APC and Buhari-led federal government to deal with the situation, are they justified in their thought and opinion?
Thank you for hosting me, Shehu. I really appreciate it. Let me, first and foremost, join good Nigerians in sympathizing with the various victims and their families and their parents of what we are going through in the country. Indeed, the country is going through a trying moment when it comes about security, because we are now having challenges of security in several states. It is no longer restricted to the northeast, northwest, north central, or even the southeast or southwest. We are now beginning to have challenges across the country. And so we have to sympathize first with Mr. President about what he's going through, our security agencies, and then the various victims that continue to have this. Now, coming back to your question, concerning what you said about the NSA, it's not just today. The NSA and Mr. President and the security agencies and the governors have been having several meetings. So the outcome of his statement today is in line with most of the recommendations and the suggestions that were all put forward during those meetings. And so when he tells you there is going to be a decisive action that is going to be taken, it is all cumulative of the various actions that have been taken from the various meetings and the decisions that have been made from those meetings. And I have no doubt in my mind that decisive actions are being taken.
So part of the question is, for those who had doubt the capacity and ability of the federal government under President Buhari in handling the situation, are they justified by their thought and opinion with the current state of things?
Well, in a democracy, you have people who have the right to think the way they are. But to be fair to President Muhammadu Buhari, you have to look at the security situation when he came in 2015 and try to compare it with what is happening today. You remember in 2015, most of these security challenges were restricted to the northern part of the country and predominantly in the northeastern part of the country, where, in fact, most of the local government areas, in states like Maiduguri were all taken, and maybe only about 4 or 5 local government areas were in the hands of the government when he came in. So now what action has been taken? Have we been successful in that process? What is the situation about declaration of the emergency in 3 states at the time, if you remember? The states of Yobe, state of Adamawa, and then Borno were all under state of emergency. All that is now gone. Now, unfortunately, most of these bandits have escaped to other places, and we are also having different kinds of challenges because we had the NSAS, and we had, after the NSAS, what is now happening. We have the IPOB, we have what is happening. So you have to look at the battalion of challenges that we are facing and the actions that are being taken every day. Banditry has become so common, kidnapping has become so common, and then we are taking these actions one after another. So I think for people who are saying that the administration of Muhammadu Buhari doesn't have the capacity, I think that's just in their imagination and then just their opinions. But in reality, actions are being taken daily, and these security agencies are doing everything possible. And I'm telling you, from the part of somebody who understands maybe what is happening. I sleep with insecurity challenges, I work with it. We go through this every day that we are going through and we are handling them. So to say there is no capacity, I think that's a very unfair statement.
But how then do you explain if those who think the government doesn't have the capacity to handle the situation. In fact, it calls in some members of the National Assembly, those who are in the opposition, who are calling that, look, if the present administration cannot do it, they should step aside. Perhaps looking at the situation of things in the past and how things have degenerated and the scale of deaths and the spate of attacks that we have seen, does that explain the effort and the activities of government and the result that we are seeing? Is that a commensurate? Is it commensurate? Is it justified? Is it measuring up in the eye of an average Nigerian?
Well, what an average Nigerian needs to understand and see, and what we are seeing on a daily basis, are the challenges we are facing every day at the various states and the way they are being handled. Most of these kidnappings that you have seen, the security agencies mount a lot of pressure. In most cases, they get them released. In some cases, it takes a little bit longer to get them released. I think there are two different approaches that people are talking about. A lot of people keep saying that we need outside support. We need outside support. So having outside support doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have the capacity. During most of these wars that we have fought in the world, you will see a lot of countries actually asking for foreign support to come in and assist them at different ends. Now, if you look at the capacity, how many people we have at the various agencies, take the police, for instance. One of the states that used to have over 40,000 policemen, today they have roughly just 25 to 30% of that. We have less number. So if that is the kind of capacity you are talking about, well, that's what the agencies, Mr. President, had given them the go-ahead to make sure they engage more people, they engage more personnel, to go ahead. If it is the capacity about the equipment, some of this equipment, you don't just go and order them over the shelf. You have to place orders before they come in. And those orders have been placed, and some of these equipment are coming. So when you say capacity in what aspect of it? Even if you bring somebody else to come from outside, they have to understand your environment. We are having our personnel that actually understand the environment, and they are doing the best they can.
Governor, apologies to cut in. Capacity might be, the questioning of the capacity of the government is perhaps coming on the basis of the promises made at the campaigns and when the government was seeking power and what they said they will do and what we are seeing right now. And that's why I asked if those who are saying, is the government living up to promises that he made and when he was seeking office?
Yes, when the government was coming in, the only major problem we had about insecurity in the country was Boko Haram. Boko Haram has technically been defeated. That's what I told you. If you look at what is happening today, in Borno State, in Borno State, most of those local government areas that have been taken over by Boko Haram, they have now been taken over back by the government. When the government was coming in, the only major insecurity there was about that. There was no question of the IPOP. There was no question of the NSAS. There was no question of kidnappings on the highways on a daily basis. There was no, so all those things were not there. These are new things that are coming.
So sorry again, the question will be, how did the government allow all of these things to degenerate to this point?
Government did not allow anything to degenerate. For instance, take the issue of the banditry we have today in Nasarawa State. Most of those bandits that were dislodged from places like Borno, Anyobe, a lot of them actually found their ways through the security to come to places like Nasarawa today to go and gather themselves at a place called Utu. The government, again, all the security agencies had a joint operation of the Air Force, the police, DSS, the Navy, and the rest of that, and they attacked them. They killed many of them ran away, and we took hostage of so many of their members of their families. So the problems are coming one after another. Government will not necessarily on its own just say insecurity coming.
Okay.
So these insecurity are issues that are coming. Is it the government that now asks NSAS to start their protest?
All right.
This NSAS start President Buhari, did the SARS start with him? Is something he inherited. I think those are the issues people look at.
We are due for break now, but quickly, there have been series of meetings that you have recently been part of. And one will imagine that mostly these meetings are on how to resolve the insecurity situation in the country. For you, what has come out of these meetings as possible concrete solution to these problems?
Well, all these meetings, that's why from the beginning I answered that some of the issues, some of the statements made by the NSA today are actually cumulative, based on different kinds of those meetings that we have had. A lot of these meetings that we have had, we made our own recommendations, we made our own suggestions. We were also asked to go back, to our various states, and see what we can do. And then it requires planning. Security issues is about planning, so they have been planning and they are putting things forward, and we are coming in, we're taking actions one at a time. And that's what you will see. It's not that when you have a meeting today, there is going to be operation tomorrow. It requires some planning, and the planning is what is happening. And that's why he made that decisive statement that Nigerians are going to see decisive action taken.
Okay. So we will go on a break, but when we come back, we would like you to tell us some of those decisive action that we should be expecting in the coming days, because the tension is palpable. Nigerians need some respite. They want to hear what will make them sleep well tonight. We'll be back with a conversation with Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State. Don't go anywhere, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Governor Abdullahi Sule, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, is our guest tonight on the program. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for your time. Let me allow you to quickly react to what your colleague Governor of Rivers State, said, that the nation is on life support. Do you agree with that sort of description of our situation?
Absolutely not. If it is on life support, even he as a governor will not be sitting there in Port Harcourt. He will be out of Port Harcourt by now. Let me tell you, there are times when the situation is serious. It's not about politics. Definitely, people are going to work. Yes, we are having security challenges in the country. It's not like we never had this kind of situation before. For some of us that spent most of our life working all over the country, I used to fly, from Lagos to Kano, and the whole of Kano everywhere was actually stuck in 2014, 2015, and police, soldiers everywhere, every stop point at every corner, because Boko Haram were inside every city and they were bombing. The country was not in life support then, and it is definitely not in life support today. Are we having security challenges? Yes. Are they many? Yes. Are they multiple? Yes. We're having them everywhere. Is the government doing something? Yes. The government is working on them every corner of the day. So to say that the country is on life support, I think that's more political than anything else. Because if it is on life support, we would not be having this program that we are having today. That's the meaning of life support. The life support is you can't do anything for yourself. You are not going to be, even the bandits will run into town, it is not going to be hiding. They are not going to be hiding and having this guerrilla attack. They are not going to be kidnapping and running back to the bush. They will do it at will and stay inside the town. That is life support. So I think the meaning of life support may be different based on our own terminologies of it. But definitely Nigeria is not a life support. Is Nigeria having security challenges? Yes. Are people dying? Yes. And those are the kind of things, those are the realities.
Okay. Would you, because you spoke about those who are debating the need for foreign help for our situation, would you advocate for the employment of mercenaries, either in the northeast or in the northwest?
Well, you see, when you say hiring them, it's quite different. From the beginning, if you remember, Sheun, the day I visited Maiduguri and returned, I was one of those that said, definitely we need foreign support. But you see, I've never been in the military, neither the police or any of the security agencies. I don't know the parameters about hiring all these people that we are talking about. All I want as a governor, I want peace. Whatever will bring that peace, I will grab it and say, please bring it, let it be. If it is going to be mercenaries that are going to come, please bring them. I'm not going to play politics about that. Did we have mercenaries before? Around 2015 also? Yes, I think we did. Was the problem solved? Definitely not. So I think if there is anybody who understands this, will be Muhammad Buhari, who was a major general, who has been in the military, who understands it. I don't know. So I don't play politics with that aspect. So that's why I'm more interested in the fact that, but if you say, do we need foreign support? Honestly speaking, I think we do. Because personnel, we don't have enough yet. We're just in the process of engaging and recruiting them. Equipment, I don't believe we have enough yet. And that's what the governors have been saying every minute of the day. So I think we need to do that in order to be able to take these people up. But this kind of wars we are going through, I think that Afghanistan had gone through it for over 30 years, 40 years. So it's not something, because these are not people it's not a conventional war. This is something that people are high.
Sorry, Governor, so if you're talking about foreign help, what sort of foreign help do you think we could use now? And in particular, which countries would you suggest that, you've had foreign trainees, you understand this terrain. So what kind of foreign help would help?
We need foreign technology. Foreign technology, we need to have some kind of equipment, that will be able to monitor these bandits since they run away and stay in the bushes. So we need to have that so we'll be able to attack. How many countries have this? I think so many countries are having this. Definitely the US is a country I understand more than any other, and therefore the US has it. So if US should support us, yes. We have always been part and parcel of Britain. This is the time for the British to support us, with equipment, with technology, with personnel, with training that we require. We require training. Yes, we require a lot of training. Personnel will have to come and train those people. Definitely, we need lots of equipment. That is the kind of foreign help.
Okay, so I have a few questions more within the little time that we have. But let me ask, do you agree that the insecurity crisis in the country is instigated by politicians?
There are lots and lots of theories about this. As I said, for me, like in Nasarawa State, I don't even want to pay attention to that. I want to just get rid of it. So a lot of people mention all kinds of things. They say it's being, I don't have any proof. I don't have anything to say that this is the particular politician that is doing it. But it is being said, even at the highest level, that most likely some of these things are being instigated by politicians. Is the something that was said when Jonathan was in power? They say Boko Haram was being instigated by this. They say IPOP is being instigated by politicians. But who is IPOP attacking? The same Igbo that they are doing. So if they want to save the Igbo, why are they attacking fellow Igbos themselves? So you see, some of these things are theories that I'm telling you, I'm not an expert in it, and I don't want to even delve into all those theories.
Perhaps one, because I'd like to ask a question on politics, but this is going to be perhaps my last question on the security situation. Someone like Senator Aline Dume has asked that state governors should also play their part in securing their domains, considering the enormity and state of the crisis. Have the state governors gotten to their wits' end? Governor Samuel Otom, for example, says his hands are tied when it comes to taking decisive action on issues like this. Is this applicable to you too?
No. My hands are not tied at all. I mean, we are taking action every minute of the day. Just 3 days ago, Fulanis came in. They killed some 90 people here in Nasarawa State at Doma. The state government came into over the matter because of the other bigger problems around the country. Nobody even got to hear about it. So every day of our life, we are having one kind of problem or the other. So I think maybe my big brother Ndume is not familiar with what is happening in other states. If not, state governors are definitely keeping the security agencies on their feet, supporting them with equipment, supporting them with so many tools they require, supporting them with allowances. So state government are the ones keeping these security issues going on. So to say, let them come and do their part, I think that's a kind of statement. I don't know how to call it.
All right, to wrap up now, and let's do this on an issue in politics. You have canvassed for the North Central region and particularly Nasarawa State, your own state, to produce the next national chairman of the APC. Who specifically are you rooting for?
Well, you see, first and foremost, I rooted for Nasarawa State because the pioneer, if you look at the legacy parties that came together to form the APC, Those were the CPC, the ACN, and the ANPP. So far from the ANPP side, we had two chairmen, Oyegun and the current chairman that we have. From the ACN side, we have Akande and Oshimole side. So all the campaign I was making was that if anybody will look at CPC, so Nasarawa State is the state to look at. Why? Because it was the only CPC state in the entire federation. And that was Nasarawa State that was used, definitely for that. And so when I went out there, I was making the campaign, if you remember, I mentioned, of course, number one person that I will support, will be Tanko and Makura, my predecessor. And that's the way that I put the argument so far, continuously. But I'm not going to say, no, it must be Tanko and Makura. It's not that. That's not the way that we do our campaign. That's why the number one requirement is that Nasarawa State deserves it, because it is Nasarawa State that was used, for that matter. And I think that's the direction that I have taken this argument.
Governor, thank you so much tonight for your thoughts, and I appreciate it so much. Governor Abdullahi Sule, Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, thank you so much for your time tonight on the program.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you. That's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.